The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want their weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
I'm going to go back to something that I've previously covered in the past. And the reason why is because it's an excellent opportunity to explain to new people the way that modern Manchurians work and how this can function and operate. It really is the best example because it is filmed and documented with evidence all around it. I was watching some really random videos the other night, and I came across these best of 60 days in jail. And if you don't know the show, basically it's a reality show, and they take these actors and they plant them in jails, right? So you have these people that are planted in very real jails that are imposters, posers, and they're trying to see if they can get through that 60 days in jail. And I think one or two of them have actually gone for 120 days in. In one of the episodes, something really extraordinary happens. Not only is this an excellent opportunity to explain how these Manchurian setups work, but it's also a good episode to show people how to possibly identify people that are being affected by these weapons, not by their behavior, but by the way they look. As I've documented in the past, there is a certain look to many people that are targeted with these weapons. They develop the same skin issues, the same sinus issues, and the same features or anomalies on their face. And I'll get into that later. So the first thing that I'm going to do is give you the basic rundown of what happens in this show, in this episode. There are two plants. There is a guy who is allegedly convicted of a gun charge, and a sort of a average-looking guy that you would never expect to see in jail who has allegedly done embezzlement. They put this plant in the jail, and then this inmate, a real inmate named Ricky, begins to hear voices coming from the TV telling him that the plant, the guy who is not a real inmate, is a child molester, a baby killer. Imagine being put in there and, you think everything's going to go cool if you're being cool, but somebody starts playing mind games with an inmate to get him to do something to you. I mean, don't you find it odd that they chose the imposter to be targeted? Somebody was seeing if they could do it. And that's exactly what happened. They convinced this guy through these weapons that this dude was some type of baby killer. Now I'm going to play it for you and kind of explain what happens as we go. Okay, now that's Ricky, who's hearing the voices. He's a baby murderer.
I swear to God, I heard the TV tell me that.
Okay, so he heard the TV tell him that. I want you to really understand, if you're new here, how dangerous this is and how it can work to get somebody to do something to somebody else. That is the danger of this weapon.
Ricky walked into one of the cells and starts talking about how he's hearing voices from the TV that are telling him that this guy Jeff is a child molester.
So he thinks he's even saying things about him, because the dude says here, that dude has said nothing about you, man. You're tripping. Now this is the guy that is the imposter. He's not really an inmate. For some reason, they picked him to see if they could get Ricky, the real inmate, to do something to him. So this guy is hearing voices he believes from the TV. Now, this guy is the pod boss, and he's trying to basically defuse the situation, but he doesn't understand the weapons. He's basically telling the dude, you need to chill out, take your meds, and listen to me. That's basically what he's saying. So here, we'll get through this.
It's green. He never been locked up in his life. He's in here for investment.
So he doesn't listen to him because this weapon is strong. And if you're hearing these, you're under such bewilderment from hearing it anyway. Most people, unless they are smarter, brighter, have a higher IQ, no offense to this guy, but they're going to think this is real. That what I'm hearing is real. So he attacks him. And that is exactly how you create a Manchurian, right there. That is what you do. And honestly, I'm just going to say it straight up, the dumber the better. Because they are not going to understand what is going on. TV told them that. We don't know how he's processing that. It seems like he's running on Windows 98. So this is how it works. This is how they get people to hurt people that they want hurt. Target somebody, maybe target somebody that isn't too bright, and convince them that the other person is a bad person. Think about this. Now, were the producers aware that some agency was going to experiment on one of the inmates and try to get them to attack a participant in a show? No, probably not. 95 to 98% chance, no. But somebody decided that they were going to see what they could do. And it's just how it works. You can see the same thing play out over and over. So there's different ways that they do it. They do it by telling these people that it is technology and it's the neighbors doing it to get them to attack the neighbors or someone close to them, or they target people like this and tell them that the people that they're around or sharing space with or an area with are bad people doing evil things. And if they are prone to violence or prone to retaliation, then there's a good chance they're going to do something if they do it the right way. There is a script to this. There is a script. Now, take a look at Ricky, and what do you see? Because I see a lot of things going on. If you watch my older videos, I talked about the Zartan, where you get the dark circles under your eyes, but they're not normal dark circles. They're usually exceedingly dark, or they begin to go down the face, like Zartan from G.I. Joe. So it goes down the face and up. I'll show you another photo of that. The other thing is, when people are hit with this, their sinuses swell up above their eyebrows here, around their brow, in between their eyes, and next to the nose, here and here, swells out, and can swell out excessively. And it doesn't look that bad in the photo here. You can see the Zartan forming, and you can see it swelling above his nose here. He was in a fight in the show, but it wasn't till way after this. So he hasn't been beaten up, he hasn't been hit. This is actual swelling to his face from something else. There's no bruising. So I'm going to show you another photo. Here is where you can really see it. He walks right up to the camera and looks into it. Now here you can see above his eyes, his sinuses are swelling and swelling out, and above his brow. And next to his nose, on each side, is swelling out abnormally, and it's not natural. And he has the Zartan going on. Those are ways that you can identify if somebody is being hit with this weapon. Another way is they get marks on their cheeks, like right there and there. They will get cherry marks. I'll show you a couple pictures of those in a few minutes. But that is how you can identify this. Their sinuses begin to swell. In this one, I adjusted the color, the brightness, and the contrast for a reason. If you look here, you can see the Zartan marks move from his eye all the way down. See that dark patch? It goes all the way down his cheek here. But his sinuses are completely blown out and swollen. everywhere. And that's not normal. You see it all the time now, but it's not normal, and people shouldn't look like that, and it shouldn't be. The marks on the cheeks that I was talking about are like this, here, here. This is James Holmes right there. From that angle you can really see it. See, it depends on the angle. So here you can see on his head. You can't see it in this photo, but when he turns his head, you can see that his sinuses are totally swollen and blown out from being hit with this. Here too. This is from an older video, but here's another set of the marks on a guy's cheeks. Right here and here. And then this is a younger kid who actually has the Zartan going and moving down his eye, from his eye to his lower cheeks. And when I say Zartan, I'm referring to Zartan like this, because that's what it resembles. You need to be aware also that when I say hit, I don't mean like somebody is pointing something at somebody. It's not the way it works. The signal is everywhere. When you are sensitized to it, then you are capable of hearing it. Here's John McAfee, and he has the marks on his cheeks here and here, and he has the marks up here, and you can see that his sinuses are swollen out, and he has the lines under his eyes, and he was clearly a target. John McAfee was suicided. Here's Randy Weaver. He has the marks and the Zartan moving down his eyes. And, you know, when you notice this and you see it and you recognize it, you can never unsee it. And you begin to see it on lots of people that don't realize that they're either being targeted or monitored. Or maybe they do. Now, this is Harlan Gerard, and he was on Jesse Ventura's show years and years ago. And he was one of the first people to actually come out public about this. He was, I believe, a real estate agent and possibly a lawyer. And he was hit with these weapons. And you can see the marks on his cheeks. Now, don't you find it a strange coincidence that everybody who claims to be hit with these, or people who have problems or get suicided by the government or some other agency, have these marks on their face? Every one of these people has the marks. Marks, marks, marks. Same mark, same spot. Or they have the Zartan, or they have the swollen sinuses, or they have all of it. I have seen it a million times. It is a telltale sign. Harlan Gerard also is dead now. He passed away. And I wonder what happened to all his information. Did it go to one of these phony-ass TI organizations out there? Because I would love to go through it. If someone knows where his information went, or if somebody just came in and threw it out, let me know. Because I'd like somebody to either give me some of it, make me copies or something, just to go through it. I don't agree with Harlan Gerard on everything, but I would still like to look at his information because he has a lot and it spans a long, long, long period of time, like 30 years or something. But that is a way you can distinguish, depending on the person, whether they are being hit with these weapons or not. So whether the face is swollen, the sinuses are swollen. They will have spots on their cheeks. They will have abnormally dark circles under their eyes, or it will Zartan out and travel down their face. Very strange, and sometimes you can only see it at certain angles, like the James Holmes photos. And as far as the Manchurian stuff goes, this has been happening for decades. They are just fine-tuning it. Like that guy, they picked that guy, convinced him that the other inmate was a child killer when he wasn't, to get him to do something. John Linley Frazier, for example, this was way back in like 70. He was a mechanic, and they convinced him that he was a prophet, that God was talking to him. And they convinced him into being some crazy environmentalist and basically going around and killing people. And he ended up killing a Japanese doctor and the entire family. You know, this has been going on and on and on. You can go through David Berkowitz and go through all these cases. It's the same thing over and over. And they're just different experiments with different scripts, fine-tuning this technology and the psychology that they use on these people to get them to do what they want done. And honestly, it was my last upload about my neighbor that prompted me to do this video. Be aware, be prepared, look out for Charlie.